Resurrection of the body of the beloved, which is the world, which is the poem of the world, the poem of the body. Mortal ourselves and filled with awe, we gather the scattered limbs of Osiris, that he should live again, that death not be oblivion. The beloved is dead, limbs and all the body's miraculous parts scattered across Egypt, stained with dark mud. We must find them, gather them together, bring them into a single place, as an anthologist might collect all the poems that matter into a single book, a book which is the body of the beloved, which is the world. Who wants to lose the world, for all its tumult and suffering? Who wants to leave the world, for all its sorrow? Not I. And so I come to the book, which is also the body of the beloved. And so I come to the poem. The poem is the world, scattered by passion, then gathered together again, so that we may have hope. The shape of the book is the door to the grave, is the shape of the stone closed over us, so that we may know terror, is what we pass through to reach hope, and courage is our necessary companion. The shape of the book is dark as death, and every page is lit with hope, glows with the light of the vital body. When I open the book, I hear the poets whisper and weep, laugh and lament. In 1,000 languages, they say the same thing. We lived. The secret of life is love, which casts its wing over all suffering, which takes in its arms the hurt child, which rises green from the fallen seed. It's not magic, it isn't a trick. Every breath is a resurrection, and when we hear the poem, which is the world, when our eyes gaze at the beloved's body, we are reborn in all sacred parts of our own bodies. The heart contracts, the brain releases its shower of sparks, and the tear embarks on its pilgrimage down the cheek to meet the smiling mouth. Sadness is there too, all the sadness in the world, because the tide ebbs, because wild waves punish the shore, and the small lives live there. Because the body is scattered, because death is real, and sometimes death is not even the worst of it. If sadness did not run like a river through the book, why would we go there? What would we drink? Isis kneels on the banks of the Nile. She is assembling the limbs of Osiris, her alive limbs moving above his dead, moving as if in a dance, her torso swaying, her long arms reaching out in a quiet, constant motion, and the river below her making its own motions, eddies and swirls, a burbling sound the current makes, as if a throat was being cleared, as if the world was about to speak. The poem is written in the body, and the body is written in the poem. The book is written in the world, and the world is written in the book. This is the reciprocity of love that outwits death. Death looks in one place and we are in the other. Death looks there, but we are here. What is life? When you first hear that question, it echoes in your skull as if someone shouted in an empty cave, the same answer each time. The resurrection of the body, of the beloved, which is the world. Every poem different, but telling the same story. And we've been gathering them in a book, since writing began, and before that, as songs or poems people memorize and recite aloud. When someone asked, "What is life?" The things that die do not die, or they die briefly, to be born again in the book. Did you think you would see the loved one again in this world or in some other? No, that cannot happen, but we have been gathering, all of us, the scattered remnants of the loved ones since the beginning. In Egypt, she loved. One is not in the pyramid, but in the poem, carved in stone, about the lover's lips and eyes. In the igloo, the poem gathered the dark hair of the beloved. All the poems of the world have been gathering the beloved's body against your loss. Read in the book, open your eyes and your heart, open your voice. The beloved is there and was never lost. I read the book for years and never understood a word. Scrolled in its margins, wrote my own versions of what I read there, but never got a thing right. Didn't understand that each poem was a magic spell, was a voice, and under that voice an echo, that was the spell. As if each poem clearly spoke the word death, and the echo said life. Echo rolled in the poem's surface, as the angel was said to trouble the waters of Bethesda's pool in Jerusalem, so that the first person to enter the water after the angel had been there was healed. I've known grief, I don't take it lightly. Know how it gnaws your bones hollow, so you are afraid to stand up. Afraid the lightest wind will knock you over, blow you away. But maybe the wind is supposed to blow right through you. Maybe you are a tree in winter, and your poem translates that cold wind into song. I want to go back to the beginning. We all do. I think hurt won't be there, but I'm wrong. Where the water bubbles up at the spring, isn't that a wound? How easy to give up hope. How easy to draw death over you, like a black cloak, cover your face, your eyes, stand there like a dead tree. I did that, claiming it was penance, claiming I was sorry I was alive after the beloved died. Who was I fooling? No one. No one demanded I act that way, least of all the ones I loved, who longed to live again, and could not unless I uttered their names, unless I told their stories, unless I felt in my own bones how much they loved the world. There is nothing occult going on. It's not as if the skull opens along its ancient fissures, like a bone lotus spreading its petals so as to let a blue light leak out. Nothing at all like that. No magic. What happens is natural. The heart uttering its hurt and its happiness. Syllables whose rhythm captures the pulse of sorrow or joy, the slow ache of throbs of it. And what occurs next can be explained by the physics of feeling, by the science through which emotions become motion, love jolting the sleepers awake. Can a river flow beside itself? Can two bodies move together through time? Or are they time itself, a liquid motion over status? Some say Osiris was the Nile, and the banks it overflowed, and the green stalk rising through the rich mud, that the whole cycle of flood and renewal was love. When Sappho wrote, "Whatever one loves most is beautiful," she began the poems of heart's praise that comprise the book of the body of the beloved, which is the world. Everything in the book flows from that single poem, or the countless others that say the same thing, in other words, other ways. Salt on the roads melts the ice. Salt on the heart hardens it. That's not how the book preserves the body. The beaten tongue tastes blood, the tongue utter love. The river has a single song, which is itself. The tree has a song, the bird also. The heart knows all, these songs, and a million of its own. Neither the river nor the bird can write. The tree moves its branches against the sky all day, as if it's thinking about inventing its own alphabet, but nothing comes of it. So it's still up to us. We are supposed to bring them into the book, make a place for them in our poems. The world comes into the poem comes into the world. Reciprocity, it all comes down to that. As with lovers, when it's right, you can't say who is kissing whom. Smart or dumb, who cares? High or low, it makes no difference. The head and the heart, which one's on top, doesn't matter, as long as both take part. The poem can't tell the difference. No, that's not true. It knows, but still it reads us with indifference. Reads us all the same. Those who wakes in the middle of the night reads a different book. For one thing, the world's all dark around them, as if it disappeared. The poems they read are anxious, as if they feared the world might not return next morning, or if it did, might bring them sorrow or bad news. More sorrow, more bad news. A little light on the book's white pages, while they read for an hour. Pages lit up like a sail in the waves, like a sail at dawn, the boat alone on the sea, but the wind steady, pulling them along. If death, then grief, right? Well, yes, but also relief, release and love. And love that goes past death, that keeps the connection. So many think death severes. And then, of course, there's joy, because what we are after is the fact of resurrection, that what the heart longs for, the poem accomplishes. Praise that lifts up the body of the beloved. That wasn't a grave, only a door that closed and now is opening into a poem. Suppose you could evoke the entire body of the beloved in a single poem. Would it all be nouns, all verbs? Would it contain the word I, or would that pronoun be understood as in Chinese poem, where it seldom occurs, since it is known to preside at the center of all beings, present by its absence as a presence, which makes it resemble the body of the beloved, called back from oblivion by all the poems in the book. Those dreams in which a phantom of the beloved appears, those are true haunting, a trick of the mind to make you think she's lost, that he will never come again. You wake in the dark, weeping. You hear the river outside your window flow into the sea. You think, who could read poems in this darkness? And all the time your sorrow is the poem of hope, and the beloved is there beside you. Everything dies, nothing dies. That's the story of the book. If the book were a bird, those two sentences would be its wings. Nothing dies, everything dies. If the book were a fish, they would be its fins. But the book is the body of the beloved. 2 hands, 2 feet, 2 eyes, lips to kiss. Silence. Does silence make things vanish, or confirm their disappearance? Is the beloved who had died buried more deep by the silence than by earth? Even closed and locked away, the book whispers some of the beloved in dreams. Still, it's the whispering difficult to understand, impossible almost. But we find the book and open it. If we find the poem that is trying to find us, the poem the beloved wrote and sent out on the long journey toward our heart, if we find that poem, it all makes sense, and the silence recedes before the beloved's quiet voice speaking to us. The beloved has gone away. Always, this is the case. Each moment turns on its hinge, and loss is there. Loss announcing itself as an absence. But there's because we are looking backwards, looking in the wrong direction, so desperately clinging to the last glimpse of the beloved, as if loss itself is what we loved, and all the time the beloved is coming toward us, is arriving out of the future, eager to greet us. Some of the poems are clear, some are incomprehensible, aspects of the beloved. Sometimes she is plain as a pebble, others he is hidden in opacity, like a tree's root. It's not all lucid miracle, you knew that. Life itself was full of mystery. Why shouldn't the life after death be strange? Tears and laughter, weighing them down, one against the other, sobs and love sighs, trying to separate them, putting each in the scales. What a job! The books, no help, clarification, catharsis, coherence. Every poem in the book aspires to these ideals, but to no avail. It's all there, but hopelessly jumbled and muddled, tossed in the same sack. You want to sort it out and come to some conclusion, and instead you are tossed into reading and writing poems for more than 40 years, and all the time believing they helped me live. I was right, but I was also wrong, or at least I missed a lot. Loss seemed to be the most of it. I believe in love that I thought the name was loss, and worse, when I said life, I meant death. When I said death, I have no idea what I meant. But the body is real, and the world also, and the beloved's body is a palpable, beautiful thing. And poems are real. The body writes them, thinking bodies, thinking the world. Listen up, listen up. Let go of the heaviness. Was it a poem from the book that so weighted you down? Impossible, less than a feather, less than the seed of a milkweed pot released in the breeze. Lifted, it drifts out to settle in a field with all that's inside it, waiting to become root and tendril, to become alive. Too many mysteries, too many emotions. Why don't we stop adding to the book? Why don't we let it rest in neglect for a few generations? Could we? Is it in our power? I have sat by it and seen it expand without anyone opening its covers to add a page. I have seen it grow as if someone had merely thought a poem. To feel, to feel, to feel, failing away. Why live? Might as well be a coffin, drifting on a grave flood. The feel of not to feel, that counts too. Anguish is one clear sign we are still here, but we all need help. The beloved's there, and the world also, and then there's the book. Poem after poem, song upon song, and all with the same chorus. Wake up, you are alive. Concentration on those motions that show hope most simply, the hoe clearing the irrigation ditch so the water flows, the green stalks poking up through the dark, melodic mud, So many tongues uttering their joy, or is it our joy they utter, who saw Osiris buried, his corpse swollen and deformed by death, who wept above the spot where they lay a long time in the earth, listening to the whisper of the worms, and now it is spring, and the beloved returns, who was fat with death, is slender as a sapling now, and silent grief reaves away. We shout our joy as fields shout their green shoots. In our despair we were dead, as the earth in winter, dark and inert. Now the world is reborn, now the poem of the dead one comes alive in our hearts. To lose the loved one is anything worse, to die oneself, not desirable, but far easier than living on past the loss of the beloved. So much of your heart there is in the grave, and what comes in to fill the emptiness? Shame at being alive, as if to survive means you betray the beloved and taste bitter. You look at the dirt at your feet. You never gaze at the face or lift your eyes toward the night sky. You eat and talk and sleep, but you are really dead, and all the time the beloved is alive in the book, waiting for you, eager to speak to you. Eager to hear all the secrets you have stored up in your grief, as if your body was a grave. Eager to hear your voice, curious to know why you withheld yourself, why you buried your love. Even the saddest poem have journeyed past death and been resurrected as words on a page. Death never stopped the simplest poem. Death starts them. Loss launches them out into the future, so they will someday wash ashore on the beautiful page of the book. Message scratched on a log or lodged in a bottle. I write to you from the world. Nothing more beautiful than the body of the beloved that is the world. Nothing more beautiful than the voice of the beloved calling our name. In so many poems we hear it, in so many poems we answer. Someone else called out to the beloved, and we were jealous. She turned her head as if she heard a voice. His face went suddenly vague and far away. Then anger came over us. We ourselves could have destroyed the beloved, could have wrecked the world in our rage. Had the lesson ended there, we would have been humbled and left alone in the void of death. But everything passed. The passion swept over us like a huge wave. We were lifted and tossed down, but we did not drown. Why should the grave be final? Why should death be everything? Isn't the world wonderful? Don't we want more of it? And in poems, life goes on, forever. Life and more life, piled up in the book, intensities and griefs, and pleasures accumulating from centuries past, 4 centuries to come. And laughing at the notion of centuries, laughing at the time, not at time, but at the idea of finality. Listening to Bach's solo suites for cello, he's found the poem, but not the words, doesn't need the words. And the words don't matter when the mother weeps over her dead child. Some of the most important poems don't get written down, but you'll find them in the book. Now the snow is falling, even more than an hour ago. The pine in the backyard bows with the weight of it. 2 years ago my father died. What love we had, hidden under misery, weighed down with years of silence. And now, maybe the poem can release us. Maybe the poem can express the love that let the rest slide with the earth as the snow does now, freeing the tree of its burden. It's winter and I think of spring. It's dark and I feel the light that comes out of the body of the beloved, that fills the room as it filled the life. Alone in the dark you are, a body, and the book is another body, is the body of the other, the beloved which is the world. Isn't Time isn't a door that only opens to shut. Time isn't the lamp that's on then clicks off. Time is the great wheel of it. Winter then spring. Time is the great whirl of it. The dance in which we hold close to the body of the beloved, hold tight for dear life. I never planned to die. I never expected to be born. I didn't give much thought to anything until the book let me know the score. The book did most of the talking. Where is your mother? The book asked, as if I was a lost child. She's gone, I answered. How is it then? I saw her inside me and talked with her, as I talk with all the mothers, listen to all the fathers who spoke of their sons and their daughters, and the lonely ones who had no sons or daughters. All that between two covers. In the book the size of a matchbox, you have to open it. If you want to see the light, you have to strike the match. When my kids look for me, I hope they can find me in the house or reach me by phone. When that don't work, I hope they find me in the book, in a poem or song someone wrote, or in one of my own. That anthology, that is the body of the beloved, which is the world. How small the eyes of hate. It's not making this up, or being metaphorical. A man held a gun against my head, and I saw how small his eyes were, with what they refused to take in of the world. This happened beside a small highway in Alabama in 1965. What history called the civil rights movement, what I call the tiny eyes of hate. How large the eyes of love, how the pupils dilate with desire. I'm not making this up, science has proved it's true. Those eyes wide and glistering, gates thrown open, what's inside, free to flow out as feelings, and the whole world and the beloved welcome to enter. Scratched with a stick in snow, or with fingernails into a prison wall, all drawn into spittle stained with blood, or composed whole in the mind and not written down until the poet was safe, until the danger has passed. But the anger doesn't pass. The risk is always there, and the challenge too. So take it in, to feel it, and then to speak it back in poems and songs, or in the silence that burns under the numb surface, as the river moves under its armor of ice. To be alive is one thing, to die is another. To be reborn in poems in the book is a third and final thing that has no end. To become the tree, that's easy. To be the flower, not so hard. But to become the beloved, that's not allowed. The distance between you, crucial as the poem that bridges it. That space between your two bodies, no matter how closely pressed, it's essential. It defines what it is to be in the world, surrounded by infinite space, balanced on the point of a pen, spinning there, singing your voice. Could it all be said in a single poem, and not by completely cryptic? There is Isha haiku about his daughter's death. This world of Dio is only a world of Dio, and yet, how the two lines seem to accept that life is ephemeral, and then the last, a cry of quiet anguish, accept but protest. Yield, then resist. The heart would have it both ways. To see the world and say it's true means starting with loss. But that's not what the heart wants. That's not where the saint stops. Who can measure the gratitude of the beloved to have lain so long in the dark, listening to the warm whisper, the eyes closed, the nerves numb, and then be brought alive? And all because of you, because you sang the song that someone wrote, or hummed it even, not remembering the words, but feeling the feeling of it. When we are young, there's lots we don't know about the beloved, how he or she is only housed briefly in this or that body. Mostly the beloved is the world, but we are not ready to see that yet, not able to bear the idea that the beloved won't necessarily gaze back at us with eyes like ours, won't wrap us in his or her arms. We can't risk but comfort too, comfort all the rest. Comfort most of all. We're still clinging to our loneliness, not yet ready to be alone, to add our own suffering to the world's, tempting when you are young, easy to confuse that with love, as if the beloved desired our sacrifice, wanted us to be more impaling itself, wanted us to be the moth impaling itself on the candle's radiant thorn. We would only smother the flame. What the beloved wants is to burn more brightly, to have more life, to hold the pane of glass up to the world, to a part of the world, to see clearly that there is, and see it framed in the shape of a page. Can a poem do that? Be bold and alert as a photograph? Who knows? The self is not a clear lens. Emotions distort. What we see appears closer or further away, or wrapped. And that's the truth of poems, both the wanting to lucidly see and the wraps of our passions, and a third thing, discovering ourselves, lightly reflected in the glass we look through. Nesting dolls inside the body of the beloved, the body of the book, inside that, the body of the world. Next time we look, it's all reversed. Of course, a book about living has to be filled with dying, and the book of joy will be full of sorrow. Why else winter? Why else the bones? Why else the bones of trees against the grey sky? But could you stay in winter? Could you brace your shoulders against the great wheel and hold its slow roll? Could you stop a single bush from sending out its new leaves, from flowering? When you are sad, the books grow larger, as if to comfort you. When you despair, it grows narrow to a single poem, and when joy arrives, hard to read it all, blinking at page dazzle, the words breaking apart into letters, dancing there, unable to calm down. To be alive, not just a carcass, but a spark. That's cruelty put, but if we are not supposed to dance, why all the music? Calm down, calm down. But why I calm down? When I'm dead and only a poem in the book read by someone not yet born. Then I'll be calm. Then I'll tell them in a quiet voice what a miracle it is to be alive. I won't shout and jump around. I'll whisper it in her ear. And if I'm lucky, she'll shout and jump around. Her heart will beat a little faster. So obvious that the voice can cease, but the song doesn't stop. That's why we have these marks on the page. If it was only the palpable body before us, if it was only the voice speaking, it would be brief, would stop when the breath stopped. would be a small, ephemeral thing. But it isn't small, it's huge. It has all the history in its short songs. Empires rise and fall in a couplet. Fortresses tumble down and become all haunted in a haiku's handful of syllables. And empires aren't what matters, nor the ambitions of violent men. Not according to this book, not according to the beloved. Facing away from the light, I looked at the world, but so much of it was obscured by my own long shadow. Turned around now, I see each object gilded and glowing in the sun. No, the sum of them is the beautiful body of the beloved, which is the world. Weeping, weeping, weeping. No wonder the oceans are full. No wonder the seas are rising. It's not the beloved's fault. Thine is part of the story. It's not your fault either. Tears are also. But you can't read when you're crying, sobbing. You won't hear the song that resurrects the body of the beloved. Why not rest a while? If weeping is one of the world's tasks, it doesn't lack adherents. Someone will take your place. Someone will weep for you. The human heart is a labyrinth. One more reason to explore it. It's dark and confusing inside us. Doesn't the poem bring light? To lull is a sensual torpor that's fun for the young. If we had not lost the beloved, we too would be lulled by the body's pleasure. We too would have despised the song of grief, which are the deepest song of love. Those low moans, close cousins of the quiet cries of lust, as if gratified. I saw my own body, stiff and dead under a tree. I saw the beloved bend over my corpse and breathe life in through my mouth. And again I was alive inside. I felt my lips loosen and shave the vows of desire. I knew I would rise and walk in the fields. I felt love move through my veins, felt it move through all things in the world. How to exhaust the inexhaustible. The world can't stop giving, nor can the beloved. When the beloved dies, it's only to ask more of you, so you become richer from giving. Time to shut up. Voltaire said the secret of being boring is to say everything. And yet I held back about love all those years, talking about death, insistently, even as I was alive, talking about loss as if all was loss, as if the world did not return each morning, as if the beloved didn't long for us. No wonder I go on so. I go on so because of the wonder. We would only just met or driving in your car when the axle broke in a small town. No hotel, no money. We had to sleep in a field. It was dark when we lay down, cold though it was summer, trying to stay warm with all our clothes on. For a while I was the blanket and you the body, then the other way around. One on top and then the other. And in the middle of the night we argued because you took your boots off. I thought you would be more cold. You knew the boots were too tight. Circulation cut off. Better bare feet than that. And a skunk wandering in the dark, so close we could hear it, as well as smell it. And at dawn we found we would sleep by a pond, and a kingfisher paused on the branch above it. Its iridescent feathers, and on a hill across the small valley, the name of the town spelled out in white rocks. Castle Creek. This story is true and happened 30 years ago. And did we know then we would still be together? Which is the beloved? Which is the world? Snow on the tree branch, vanished by noon. That feeling I had, it's gone too. Something about the wonder of it. poem of the snow on the tree branch, it's still there. Tired of the body, tired of the poem of the body, rest a while. Even the most passionate lovers paused. Even the fiercest warriors put down their swords, exhausted by slaughter. You might think the things I say are too simple for words, too embarrassing to be spoken. But I repeat the obvious. Where's the harm in that? Maybe it was always simple. Loss surrounds us. Who would deny it? We ourselves are lost. But those who come before us left a book as a guide, the book full of songs and poems. All the different books you read, you are searching for one book. All the poems you read, and what you really sought was the one poem. And when you found it, weren't you lifted up? Didn't you become lighter, transparent even, so that someone looking at you could see the world inside you? You can read the words without words. Eyes takes in its dazzle, and you can read the body of the beloved by touch. You can do that much in all of its magic, but neither body nor world can be born again except by tongue. And to live once only, what if that's not enough? How badly the world needs words. Don't be fooled by how green it is, how it seems to be thriving. Willow will rescue that tree from its radiant perishing. How much more so than when you name the beloved? How the crocus pops up, leafless stalk in purple, blossom cup out of bare mud. As if it couldn't wait any longer, not even the grass has ventured forth. Ice and slow could still return. What does the beloved care, so eager to begin again, to welcome the new life? The dandelion too. First it's a plush sun, then before you know it, it's become a ghostly globe. And of its two forms, who can say which is more lovely? As if you had to choose between the glorious worlds and the words that resurrected. Oh, I know. The beloved, every time, always the beloved. And the beloved is gone. We could lie down on the ground and keep our lives away. We could stamp our feet and refuse like little children. And what would that accomplish? Better to sing our sorrow song. It's only words, but it's words that brings the beloved back. They said to me, here's the beloved, and here's the world. You have to choose. Here is the heart and all it can hold. Here is the heaven and all that you can grasp. False. Stop right there. How do we know we can't have both? Would that be greed when the two are one? Let's remake the world with words. Not frivolously nor to hide from what we fear, but with purpose. Let's, as Wordsworth said, remove the dust of custom, so things shine again, each object arrayed in its robes of original light, and then we will see the world as if for the first time, as once we gazed at the beloved who was gazing at us. In the spring swamp, the red-winged blackbird perched on a cattle's stalk. Have you heard its song? If you have, no need of heaven, no need of divine resurrection. It's one of those bird songs that hold a spot in the book, saving that space until a human song comes along, worthy to replace all that wordless love. Weighted down by the weight of the world, what can lift you, and how did it become so heavy? Is it because the beloved left? How dark those rocks seem now. That tree shadow more solid than the tree itself. Help, help is on the way. The beloved is coming. A cloud over the sun doesn't mean there is no sun. Humid morning. Last night's rain becomes sand dappled on laws. Earthworms on the walk, doing its slow dance in honor of the world. The sun, a hot hand on your body. The shade, a cool one. Summer, the beloved pressed close. No one is grateful for such a loss. But could ingratitude stave it off? Could bitterness hold it at bay? On the other side your job begins, where the beloved's body lies. Only your words can revive her. Only your love can make him live again. Hummingbird's furious hot heart, beating without surcease. How can those tiny wings cool it? The poem of the beloved, such intensity it can hardly breathe. With man's list of the things he could see as he sat, half paralyzed, an old man by woodland pond, the names of the different trees, the birds he glimpsed or only heard yet recognized by their songs, the bushes and grasses that grew there, only happy those lists made him, tamak, birch, maple, larch, gazing from where he loafed on the bank, or from the pond itself, where he floated naked in the round pool of it, as if he were the pupil in a wide open eye, and the trees around it delicate and strong as lashes. Oh, the world, what eye is wide enough, what pupil sufficiently diligent. Let's put our poems in the book. Let's add what we see to the beautiful list. Today only a single poem, this one, so small. In the Middle Ages, the angels flocked on the head of a pen, spacious as a ballroom. Have faith. The beloved approaches, robed in radiance, dressed in language, eager to dance. Walking now, and we didn't even know we would been asleep in our luckiness. A luckiness that now has ceased, that the beloved's death has ended. Seeing the world differently, seeing it clearly or through a fog of grief, but seeing it where before there had been no words, only the beloved blocking the light, only the beloved filling our sight. No one I ever believed said, there is no death. Besides, I don't want to live forever. Already, I'm forgetting things, not just names and dates, but also moments and places I cherished. And I'm feeling old. Certain parts of my body always ache. To love forever. Now that's a different matter. That's what the book teaches me. That's why I keep reading. The beloved often arrives in disguise, not to avoid you, not to elude you. Who longs so? That would be cruel. No, only to surprise you, to find you before you find her, to recognize you before you recognize him. Spasm and sadness, a little kiss then, a little chasm. It could give passion a bad name. Luckily, the book has a thing or two to say about this. The Goelian Apollinaire, the beloved was the Julios, the beautiful redhead. He fought in World War I and was seriously wounded, but his beloved's red hair was not the color of blood or war. It was the radiant color of love. To him, the beloved was adventure, her red hair a flag in the distance, rallying him, commanding him to venture forward into the unknown. He followed her. He left behind his books, his poems. Saying the word, he sees in the world, not by the scruff, not roughly, but still fervent, still the fierce hug of love. Not the first lesson of grief. They are all about sorrow. But stay to the end of the teaching, where grief reads from the book, reads a poem you never heard before, a poem about the beloved. He talks about how he thinks constantly of us, and how we miss her so, and how we meet in the poem. We exist in the mortal world only, but the beloved persists beyond also. He or she starts here, starts as a body of flesh and blood, and oh, it's so lovely. But that's not enough. How could that be enough? And so our longing calls out past those limits, calls out into the void, and the beloved answers from all directions, answers from every page in the book. Skitter bugs on the stream surface, poems in the book, zipping here, then there, nervous, elusive, shooting off at absurd angles, harmless. Harmless creatures can't be caught in the quickest hand, silly looking, but the water they move on is clear and deep. How is it I'm tired, and the beloved is lively? Easy answer, the beloved is always ready for love. Can't we rest a while? Can't we sleep? You sleep, the beloved replies. I'll stay up and watch the stars. I will become the world. The grapes taste good. I hope whoever grew them and picked them was paid well. The poem in the book, free as the air they are made of. What a business, praising the beloved. What a business, loving the world. Some say you're lucky if nothing shatters it, but then you wouldn't understand poems or songs. You would never know beauty comes from loss. It's deep inside every person, a tear tinier than a pearl or thorn. It's one of the places where the beloved is born. When you are afraid of something. When you dread, it's nothing that you dread. Nothing can be terrifying, but don't get confused. A blank page in the book isn't terrifying, isn't nothing. It's something waiting to happen. It's the beloved holding her breath, hoping you will write or call. How can lines zigzag down like lightning? How did Emily Dickinson write those poems? The beloved must have stood beside her, handing her words like spears. What a night storm in the heart, each word burst in its ghastly flash, following by a sudden dark. The poet approaches the lectors. The poet approaches the lectern. We have brought another lottery, made another investment in the effort to express human passion in a shareable way. If the poems are sad, if the poems are bad, the hour will seem to go on forever. If a single poem moves us, or a single line, we will enter eternally briefly, and the gift will shine. Ripeness of summer, yet autumn is here. Fruit fat on the trees, but already the leaves brown and curl at their edges. Fruit and seed in the heart of the fruit, apple or pearl, already something preparing to rot and die, and something inside ready to live again. Wildness of the world, branches tossing in a storm, yet the beloved seemed so mild, seemed calm at the center, even when passion swept her, even when he lost control. Quiet surface of the world, and wildness at the center. The beloved gaze in a mirror that turns everything inside out, and the book, sometimes it's a rock, sometimes its wing frantically beat inside an invisible cage. There's the daisy, white petals and a plush yellow center. And so we begin our anxious interrogation. She loves me not, plucking it bare like a plump chicken we plan to cook. Daisy comes from Day's eyes, the sun, a flower as metaphor for the world's splendor, the beloved shining on us all the time, and us with our silly question. Yes, our human time is finite, that much is obvious, but I can hear the infinite knocking at the door of almost every word, and when they open, each of them opens into a world. Last night, a huge storm, branches torn from the maple, plants overturned on the porch, spilled from their safe little worlds, their clay pots with its gallon of dirt. And won't there be worse? Won't it happen to the people we love? Then we will know sorrow. The branch can't be put back on the tree. We scoop up the earth and cover the roots. Who knows if it will live? All that sorrow you fill the sink with your tears, fill the tub even, and it seems then you could change the ocean, could add to it. Pull the plug, no more blabbering, tears don't bring the beloved back. Try words, maybe they will work. Since time began, two schools of thoughts, weeping and words, sorrow and song. Words begin in weeping, but they are transfigured somehow. They have grief still inside them, but outside they shine. When we lost the beloved, we lost the world. A crack opened between us and all else, briefly perhaps, but how deep it was. Who could forget what was glimpsed there? We stepped carefully across our leap and hoped we would reach the other side. But the chasm was real, and we were wordless and bereft of love. Rain last night, leaves in the street. I look up the tree. It's full, not a sign that a single leaf is missing. Poem in the book that seems a lie, that offends your suffering. Tear it out, throw it away, no harm done. Tear them all out, grief can be that deep. They will return when the time's right. They will bring the beloved. Naked before the beloved, and the beloved naked before us. No wonder the censors get excited. No wonder the book is seldom mentioned, not readily available, difficult and risky to find. No wonder we search for it all our days. No wonder we seek just a glimpse of it, and catching that glimpse are changed. No postmortems, please. The world is mortal. The world renews itself. What about poems and songs? Do they perish? Maybe they only vanish a while. Maybe they go underground to gather some other knowledge and come back in another form. New words, new melody, yet somehow the same beloved, singing the same voice. Oh, to be deeply naked and still see love in the beloved's eyes. To be free of shame. Was there anything more wonderful? How long did it last? Maybe only a moment. Maybe it was a dream. We were afraid to feel such joy. Still, it changed us. And for once we knew we belonged in the world. I thought I was hunting for a poem. Hours spent leafing through dusty books, huge anthologies. And all the time the poem were stalking me, tiger burdened in the forest of the night, eager to devour my heart. No, not my whole heart. Only the rotten parts. Only what needed to be renewed. Only what needed. Long night on the road. Huge distance between two cities. Distance also between radio station. Only static coming through. Stop for coffee at this diner. Need to wake up. Need to consult the little book on the jukebox to hear the beloved sing my song. If we could have the world without the beloved, would that suffice? Lacks one, lacks both. Did you think that heap of object was the world? It only becomes the world because of the beloved. She lends it her light. His kiss makes it live. Autumn, with its too muchness, stretching the boundaries of song. The grape, ripe against its skin. One more day of sun and it will burst with joy. One more day under the beloved's gaze, the beloved's sway, and we will die of love. Is the beloved greedy, demanding all our love? Is the ocean thirsty, drinking all the rivers and lakes, draining them only to fill them full again? Eyes blurred with tears, a downcast gaze. How will we recognize him? How will we know her face? Does it occur to you, the beloved is trying to return, and all our grief keeps her away, keeps him far from us? The beloved never intended this, left clear instructions not to mourn too long, too deeply, left them in a memorable form, in a poem in the book, in a song. My mother's joy never lasted long, her sorrow either. She walked her path into oblivion long before I wrote my first poem. I see her now, resurrected in my deep thought. One more beloved lighting my way into the dark. One more beloved bringing back from the abyss explicable gifts. What suffering! Why isn't the earth covered with tears to the very mountain peaks? But it is and always has been, and the globe is filled to bursting with groans, and above it all the book floats like an ark, not serene, but desperately from all the agony, but indifferent, not indifferent, but other, like the beloved. If you can glimpse it among the waves, swim toward it. What did someone cynically say once? Open a vein and let it flow onto the page. If only one could and have words result, not seeking self-display, seeking release, seeking the other who is lost inside you, seeking to say it out, your grief and longing, bringing the resurrection about. A song of resurrection played on a leg-bone flute? I don't think so. We want more than to just make the dust dance. We want the beloved's living presence returned to us as song, hair, lips, brows, the beautiful flesh and features. Words can evoke them, poems can bring them again to the mind's eye. Hollow bone into which we breathe our sorrow. No, that won't do. Something so empty, but it's not emptiness we feel. I think we must ourselves become both instrument and song, full as we are with longings. The world looks in all directions like that vase of chrysanthemums on the table, but the beloved looks only at you. How easy to choose. Yes, the flowers are beautiful, but the beloved's gaze makes you beautiful too. When the world, for a single moment, focus on you, you become the beloved, glowing, almost unable to contain your glee. Precarious bliss, it was for this. Not deepest grief, of course, nothing can help you with that. Later, maybe, but not now. Now you are unreachable, alone with all that was airy between you, alone with what you said and not said, saying it all now, briefly confessing what you withheld then, admitting what you denied only a short while ago. How obvious that you were often wrong and unkind, aware now of all the good deeds you intended that remained undone, aware of all the good between you that death has undone. If deepest grief is hell, when the animal self wants to lie down in the dark and die also, if deepest grief is hell, then the world returning, not soon, not easily, must be heaven. The joke you laughed at must be heaven, or the funny thing the cat did as its food dish. Whatever guides you back to the world, that dark so deep, the tiniest light will do. And it happens, of course, harms comes to the beloved. We must be brave, even if we don't feel it. She needs us. He has no other ally. Act now, later for questions and uncertainty, later for fear and second guessing. To risk all for the beloved, how else will we all be saved? This room crowded with memories, even this must be emptied. Let it go, let it all go. We must make space for the beloved return. Nothing here is precious, nothing we can't live without. Or if there is, let it go and the beloved will bring it again when she returns. Let it go now, even this must be emptied. Clearing out the room that has been a shrine to the beloved. Now it all seems junk. Now we must empty that space. Perhaps even paint the walls a new, bright color. Be brave, admit it. All this dusty stuff needs to be tossed into a box and hauled to a dump. It's morbid. It shows lack of faith. The beloved was never this insert object. The beloved was alive, as she is now inside you, as he is now in the book. I put the beloved in a wooden coffin. The fire ate his body. The flame devoured her. I put the beloved in a poem or song, tucked it between 2 pages of the book. How bright the flames, all of me burning, all of me on fire, and still whole. Not the loss alone, but what comes after. If it ended completely at loss, the rest wouldn't matter. But you go on, and the world also. The words in a poem or song, aren't they a stream on which your feeling float? Aren't they also the banks of that stream, and you yourself the flowing? Memories, embers, words stir them and flames leap up. We feel again the heat of her, the force of him, beloved, beloved, shining in the dark. Scar they stare at, star they are scared at. Mark of the beloved, a brightness that frightens. To be touched so takes past harm to the place poems now. Now the leaves are falling fiercely, giving themselves to the winds, wheeled like a technicolor blizzard. Safe in my house looking out, savoring the poem of wilderness, savoring the world's unthinking decision to give itself over eternity. This window between me and the world, like reading a page in the book, taking it in deeply, gladdened by the swirl and swoop of it, gladdened by this emblem of passion, glad also by the glass of the distance that makes it safe to feel it. Not to make loss beautiful, but to make loss in the place where beauty starts, where the heart understands for the first time the nature of its journey. Love, yes, the body of the beloved as the gift bestowed, but only temporarily, given freely, but now to be earned, given without thought, and now loss has made us thoughtful. The beloved moves through the world, is the world, becomes the 100 things we love, or the one and only thing or person we love, shifting, restless, refusing to incarnate in a final form, as if to teach us to keep our eyes moving if we ever want to see the bird flitting from bush to tree. There it is, no, there, no, it's hidden now, you can't see it, but you can hear its song. The world so huge and dark, it swallows our cry, but we are no longer lost. The beloved has heard us and even now approaches. We move toward each other like two words that will join a poem, a small poem, a little song, but one in which we are not alone. Go into the reading hoping the poet will read your poem. Not the one you wrote, but the one written for you, that you've never heard. You went to the reading eager to hear the poet's voice, believing the feeling would be there as well as in the world themselves. How disappointing it was, reading as if half asleep himself, as if she couldn't care less. Maybe anxious, maybe afraid to let the feeling show too openly. But why write poems if not because grief or joy has seized you? Why read them if you don't want to make a sweep or shout aloud? Think of the news you're bringing. The beloved is still alive. Message that the man's singing. Expecting so much, needing so much, and the poet delivers so little. We return away in disgust. He did his best. She tried hard to give form to her loving grief. Not their fault that it fell flat, and we were not moved. Maybe an old poem you must find in a book on a dusty shelf, or one not written yet, one you write yourself. Such a shaking. If the elbows were held by nuts and bolts, we would all rattle apart. But sinew and socket kept their grip, the body's intact. And to think, a poem did that. The poem didn't express emotion, it was emotion. And so was I, as I became the poem, as I read it aloud, as I rose from my daily grave. That desolation is the door. How be surprised at that? All those moments we shared, only prelude to this painful growing, her loss forcing it upon us, his absence insistent. Not bliss, never again bliss, but maybe a deeper knowing. Some days it's all fuzzy, I can't find the word, can't find the beloved, can't even find the words. Time to lie back and listen. Maybe something's being said, something I haven't heard. Time to stop talking and let the beloved speak. Time to trust it all, to stop searching and let the beloved seek. Body of the beloved, body of the world, the eyes can't seize their festin. Book of the body of the beloved, inexhaustible. Not just the book, but your hunger for it. How lucky we are that you can't sell a poem, that it has no value, might as well give it away. That poem you love, that saved your life, wasn't it given to you? For me, my brother was the first beloved, the first departure that tore my heart. I was so stricken when he died I couldn't speak. I was young and knew nothing about the book. It was years before I learned poems could be letters, the living addressed to their dead, years before I knew poems in the book were answered they sent. Invisible distance between yourself and the world, rage layered on the bodies like armor, limbs thick with it, stiff, unable to move easily, unable to touch the body of the beloved, because inches of it covers your skin. Words not just the empty shells of things, alive, darting, like minnows in a stream, flash and shimmers. And the water itself, the flow of our feelings, ripple and pearl, the tiny whirlpool that holds the leaf in a brief, dizzy embrace. Then lets it go. Hold off rain, Of course my garden craves water, but the peonies are in full blossom. If you fall now, their petals will all be scattered. Wait a day, let them feel the pure joy of opening. Fall tomorrow, then you can show them love is also a shattering. Where did the beloved go? I've looked in all the poems, looking high and low, coming toward me, blank page in one hand, pen in the other, coming toward me, a song on her lips, only needing me for the words. Even before speech revealed your secret, there was looking. Even before song that gave you away, they were gazing. The beloved felt your eyes upon her. He dimly understood why you looked at him that way. Speech of the eyes, the stare and the glance that lingers. The motion so cautious, gestures almost not worth making. Do you think the beloved rewards this? Have you never heard of extravagance? Love, parceled out bit by bit so it will last longer. Look at the beloved. Can't you see her laughing? To see the beloved, to be seen by the beloved, that's where things starts. Looking with eyes, of course, but who could be filled with such gazing and not want more? Looking with words also. Look and then leap, gaze and then speak. Were we invited? Was that what the beloved smiled signified? Quick, say yes. Tell her we will be there. Tell him we can't wait. I miss so many things because I was sleeping. I don't want to miss this. Acrobatic postures I enjoyed in my youth, but can't even imagine now. I could study this crude drawing for hours and still not figure out how it's done. Some secrets and joys time takes downriver, never to be seen again. Behind me forever, both the temptation of youth and its strenuous attempts. Settling now for the book's calmer section and pleasures. If a peach leads you into the world, into an appreciation of its delights, how much more so the beloved? A morsel of peach meat, a single kiss, and you know pleasure has depth beyond measuring. All is not subject to loss, but certain of it, guaranteed to vanish, therefore more precious, therefore brought back by poem and songs, the mouth open as if to sing, as if to sink its brave teeth into the peach. Autumn, and the days grow shorter, squeezing the same radiance into a smaller space, more intense than ever the beloved's lust for us. She must know we too are getting ready to become a poem. Sudden shower of golden leaves, descending from the maple, shameless beloved, undressing in public again. Do words outlast the world? They describe, do the things fall away, leaving only the husks of their names? And what does their perishing ask of us? Lift up, lift up. A song could redeem them, a poem could fill them with life again. Don't we owe the world at least that much that gave itself so freely to us? Did the beloved die? Yes and no. Only really ceasing when we cease to care. Therefore, on every morrow are we wreathing flower bands to bind us to the earth, which is to say, composing poems and melody songs that celebrates the world, which is to say, helping the beloved to be reborn by writing and reading poems, which is to say, we have an urgent purpose, which is to say, why should it all be lost? Why should time take away that day by the river? Surely the storerooms of oblivion are full of bursting. Surely to bring back that single scene in all its glory wouldn't harm the order of things, if only the words of a song or poem. if only for a moment, restoring that moment. Blood marks on paper or parchment painted on bark. What magic at work here? Are these words, are these a silent saying of all we hold dear? Are these proofs of our being here? No longer a part of the story, yet she's become the story. No longer a part of the world, but he's become the world. Songs are forever saying this. Poem knew this from the start of time. They waited patiently in the book for that moment, when grief would open our ears, when loss would open all of us. You lost the beloved. You thought her page is torn between the book of life. You thought it's as if he never lived. How wrong you were. Lost writers, so many poems in the book. Writes till its hand aches, till it's exhausted and can't write anymore. Then it sings a song. And if not you, then who? Weren't you the one who cherished her, even from afar? Weren't you the one who knew his worth, who knew the intensity of your love was not excessive? How can you give up the beloved as lost? Always it was you, the poem in the book. Prove it, the songs attest to your passion. An anthology gathered since the beginning of time, gathering itself, only to disperse as a tree scattered its leaves, only to tear itself apart and give to each who needs. His songs were about the world. She sang of what she saw, and yet it was always the beloved's own being that was the theme of that beautiful music. Sometimes it was words, sometimes only the body's movement or an expression fleeting across the face. And now the singer himself has fled. Now her silence is absolute. Now I open the book, hoping to hear that song again. Thank you, Dini.